What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Today it is the LazyDaze Channel, and we're back at it again with some more history reaction for you guys today. And we are back on the long-awaited Sabaton History, and we have got the Red Baron, the Great War, episode 15. We're really enjoying this series over here, these guys' channel, and we're really looking forward to finding out what they have got for us today. If you haven't already, head over to their page. A link will be in the description box down below. If you guys are enjoying our content, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will catch you. And we're going to jump straight into this one.
I'm Indy Nidell.
And I'm Milwaukee from Sabaton, and this is Sabaton History.
Now, we are standing in front of a bunker from the First World War, because we're going to be talking about one of the songs from your album, The Great War. And today we're going to be talking about the Red Baron. Now, everybody knows who the Red Baron is.
No.
This is Fort Douaumont, the symbol of Verdun, and for many, the physical symbol of World War I. But perhaps the most enduring symbol of the war is the Red Baron. People might not know the Kaiser, the battles, or anything about the war in general, but they still recognize the name the Red Baron. Even over 100 years after his death, he's still represented in books, movies, and songs. Manfred Albrecht Freiherr von Richthofen was born May 2nd, 1892 in Silesia to Prussian nobility. His father was an officer of the Imperial German Army, and Manfred enrolled into Wahlstatt Military School at age 11. He would rise to the rank of lieutenant in the 1st Uhlans, a prestigious cavalry regiment. However, when the war came, it became clear that cavalry would not play a major role on battlefields dominated by entrenched machine guns. To escape the monotony of guard duty in the trenches, von Richthofen looked to the skies, where the first reconnaissance planes flew, and he successfully applied for the air service in June 1915. He began his work as an observer in a two-seater on the Eastern Front, photographing Russian troops, and was then transferred to Belgium. Now, airplanes were still a new thing, and they evolved rapidly during the war. By late 1915, the days of unarmed reconnaissance planes were over, and the single-seater fighter appeared over the battlefields, as did the first German flying aces, an ace being someone with 5 confirmed aerial kills. By early 1916, men like Max Immelmann and Oswald Belke made names for themselves as the Knights in the Skies, the first airmen to be awarded the Pour le Mérite, Germany's highest military honor. They were huge stars. The public loved them, and the enemy feared them. And of course, their image had a strong impact on young men like von Richthofen, who wanted to be just like them.
Okay. That's right, it's not going to fall. Is it stuck to my hat?
It was.
This was the period of the Fokker Scourge. Thanks to Anthony Fokker's synchronization gear, German pilots were able to fire through their propellers and aim the gun by aiming the plane. And this changed how aerial warfare was conducted. Fighting in the sky reached a new level of intensity. By mid-1916, the Allies had caught up in the aerial arms race, and over the skies of Verdun and the Somme, vicious dogfights took place. Oswald Belke and German Chief of Field Aviation Major Hermann...
Could you imagine it? The first few planes, imagine one of the first few fucking pilots. There's no parachute.
Flying along, I'm holding me, my G stick or whatever, and I just see, maybe in my rear view mirror, like, oh, things behind you might look closer than they are, just in the mirror. I'm like, oh, it's a plane. It's all right. He can't shoot me through the. But what the Christ is he doing? I'm just getting unloaded on.
It would just be so scary. Just so scary.
How do you report back to that? As in, we keep getting shot down because the guy can shoot through his propeller and not hit it.
Yeah.
What can we do at this point?
Just in general, man. Like once your plane gets hit, you're like,
that's it. If there's like if one bullet can hit like a particular part,
engine, like,
and that's it. You're gone.
Yeah,
right.
It's so scary, and I guess a lot of these people just didn't have fear.
Just went for it.
They just didn't have fear.
Caught up in the aerial arms race, and over the skies of Verdun and the Somme, vicious dogfights took place. Oswald Belke and German Chief of Field Aviation Major Hermann von der Lieth Thomsen had a new idea to maximize the effectiveness of the German Air Force, the Jagdstaffel, called JASTA for short. This combined several planes into a unit that fought together and attacked the enemy in concert. Belke would personally lead and train Jasta too, and he handpicked his pupils. One of them was Manfred von Richthofen, though it is unclear what Belke saw in von Richthofen, who had an unremarkable flying career so far, and who had actually crashed the first time he had flown in a fighter plane. Jasta II, or Jasta Belke as it became known, fought in northern France near the Somme. The pilots could usually choose their own planes. At the time, either Fokker D3 or Albatros D1 or the new D2. On September 17th, the Jasta was operational and Richthofen got his first official aerial victory. Belke had 8 principles to guide his pilots. Dicta Belke, which you can read in the description. And he had a huge impact on German air strategy. But he met his fate October 28th. Nearly a month after that, Richthofen's legend began, when he shot down British ace Major Leno Hawker. Richthofen had embraced Belke's teachings and raked in victory after victory. Diving, whirling, accelerating, it all came naturally to him. On January 12, 1917, following his 17th victory, von Richthofen was awarded the Pour le Mérite and given command of his own Jasta, Jasta 11. He brought in Dicta Belke and would lead the Jasta through personal example. Nowadays, Richthofen is often portrayed as the single hunter of the skies who flew mostly on his own in his bright red Fokker triplane. But in reality, his true merit was as commander of his Jasta. He was as skillful an organizer, teacher, and leader as he was a killer in the skies. Under his command, new aces emerged like Kurt Wolff, Werner Voss, and Manfred's own younger brother, Lothar von Richthofen. As spring arrived, they were equipped with a new Albatros D3, and what was known as Bloody April began.
Okay. Now these paintings are beautiful.
Again, bro.
Yeah.
I love it.
Over the skies of Alaska,
We're thinking about
Jasta
going
went
to
to
a
work
museum
like
in
predators
January, so
stalking
keep your
prey,
eyes up,
fighting
guys.
aggressively and systematically. It was truly a bloody April, as Jasta 11 alone scored 89 confirmed victories. Richthofen shot down 21 planes that month and had by now surpassed Belke. The German press was ecstatic, and von Richthofen's fame rose to unprecedented levels. The newly promoted Rittmeister got worldwide attention. He was the Red Baron, the Petit Rouge, the Rote Kampfflieger, because of the bright red of his planes. In the skies, there is no need for camouflage, and in battle, it paid to be recognized. Richthofen himself said, "I make sure that my squadron sees me wherever I am."
Okay.
Like their commander,
Yeah.
Jasta 11 painted their planes in
It
bright
just
colors and
stands
distinct
out.
patterns. They were all differently colored. One was yellow with a black tail, another green and dark brown. One had blue stripes, another a checkered pattern on the tail. Standing in a row, they looked like brightly colored birds or butterflies. To friend and foe alike, the Jasta became known as Richthofen's traveling circus, as it was always sent to where the fighting was heaviest. They wanted to be seen by their enemies as well as by their comrades and the men on the ground.
These
For
are
the
the
enemy
boys you need.
should strike fear in their hearts.
That's
the famous
insane.
red
That is
plane
it as well,
emerging
like
from the
it's
clouds.
the fear as well, because you imagine you're a normal thing, and these are all ace. They're like the special squadron.
These
right?
are dangerous
You know
boys.
they're the dangerous
And
boys,
they like to get
right?
involved.
And like normally you wouldn't be able to tell, but then you just see the parade of aeroplanes,
And then you
just
see
go,
the colours.
Literally, you just go, "Oh, it's the boys."
See ya.
See ya. Literally. Swerve.
Horrifying for
I'm
an
landing.
Allied fighter.
That's it.
Friendly fire also happened a lot, especially in the bigger engagements.
Constant.
And
like,
the
Yeah,
bright colors
yeah.
distinguished the Jasta from their enemies. Also, the men on the ground who watched cheering from their trenches could make out who made a kill. See, a victory in the sky had always to be confirmed in the German aviation service. If no one saw you do it, then it didn't count towards the tally. And since there was natural competition between the young men, this was pretty important. Richthofen was a caring mentor to his pups. And as the pilots returned after each mission, he would meet them with both praise and lessons on how they could hone their craft even further. He was beloved by many, but highly respected by all. However, the pilots under Richthofen's command were not invincible. The Allies had experienced veterans and aces of their own, and many German aces fell prey to Allied machines. As bloody April passed, the balance shifted once more towards the Allies, with their fighters like the SE-5 and the Bristol F-2B. To counter this and increase the effectiveness of the Jagdstaffel, they were combined to the even bigger Jagdgeschwader, hunting squadrons. The first squadron, consisting of Jasta 3, 4, 11, and 33, was placed under the command of the Red Baron. This was 50 to 60 planes that could quickly be transferred around the front. In Flanders, during the build-up for the Battle of Passchendaele in the summer of 1917, British artillery was giving the German infantry hell. It was directed by reconnaissance planes, accompanied by bombers and fighters who were strafing the Germans on every run. Jagdgeschwader 1 was sent forth to try to gain local air superiority. On July 6th, von Richthofen led the mission, and they encountered an enemy bomber squadron.
From up in the skies as well, I'd imagine you really get a proper feel for the destruction of the land.
You see everything.
You see everything.
How you could see
and you can see on a much larger scale. Like if you're in a war-torn city, it's not until you start moving out that you start seeing the other land. But in a plane, you're seeing the shells hit the ground, the explosions happening. You're seeing shit crumbling down. You're just seeing everything.
You're seeing just everything change.
Like yeah.
Within seconds, and then you get down there, you just think, oh wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
As the Red Baron positioned himself behind a British bomber, something hit his plane, ricocheted off the frame, and hit the Baron in the back of his head.
What?
Nearly unconscious, and with blood pouring from the wound, he broke off the attack, but the hit temporarily blinded him. But he didn't panic and calmly turned off his engine. There was nothing he could do until the shock wore off and his sight returned. His plane had lost altitude by then, but 2 other pilots had guarded their commander from the enemy. Richthofen turned back on his engine and made his way back to the airfield. Who or what hit the Baron that day remains a mystery.
Could just be like a bit
Richthofen
of
did not return to his men until
plane
mid-August.
shrapnel.
His head still bandaged, but from hospital, he had contacted high command about new planes. The British, with their new Sopwiths, had the upper hand, while the German manufacturers hadn't produced something new in months. On his return to the squadron, Anthony Fokker himself was there to greet the Red Baron with the new Fokker triplanes, the Fokker V4 prototypes. Fokker, of course, used the meeting as a PR.
Did he see the word like it as well? I was like, I need to use it as much as I can.
He must have.
How many times did he just say it there?
He said that quite... Right, we're going to do a drinking game, yeah? If you lot want us to do a drinking game on this, every time he says the word Fokker, we take a shot. Right? I want to see how many times he says Fokker just in this one bit.
I've just rewound it, so we're going to find out.
Anthony Fokker himself was there to greet the Red Baron with the new Fokker triplanes, the Fokker V4 prototypes. Fokker, of course, used the meeting as a PR coup, filming the Red Baron in the new triplane, which is another reason why the triplane became so associated with the Red Baron. But Richthofen only scored a fraction of his total kills in the triplane. The plane's reception was mixed, however. It was way more maneuverable than the biplanes, sure, but not much of an improvement in terms of speed. Von Richthofen wasn't too happy about the prototype, especially now that the enemy's advantage in numbers was growing more than ever. As 1918 began, German high command wanted to see their star safe and sound, but the Red Baron could not be contained, and the German spring offensives needed their best pilots to succeed. In April 1918, Baron von Richthofen pushed his machine to the limits, scoring 12 victories in just 2 weeks. It was bloody April all over again. But the fighting and the head wound took their toll. Richthofen became exhausted and isolated himself more and more from his peers and his men. On the 21st, one day after he scored his 80th victory, von Richthofen flew out once again. At 10:30, his men engaged the Australian Flying Corps over Capi. Richthofen was seen chasing a Camel Scout. Uncharacteristically against his own teachings, von Richthofen pursued the fleeing scout along the Somme Valley, deep into enemy territory. Canadian ace Captain Arthur Roy Brown spotted Richthofen and dove behind him, firing a burst at the Baron's tail. Richthofen went down in a beet field, and the red triplane came to a stop. The Red Baron, though, was dead. killed by a single bullet through the heart. Captain Brown is officially credited for bringing down Richthofen's plane, but it is more likely that the Baron was hit by fire from the ground as he was flying fairly low. But still to this day, there is a lot of controversy about the exact circumstances of his death.
Okay.
The news reached the Yasta after they had already begun searching for him, and German High Command even sent out an official request to Allied High Command inquiring about the fate of the Red Baron. Manfred von Richthofen was buried by the Allies with full military honors, accompanied by an honor guard of officers from the Australian Flying Corps. His aircraft was taken apart for souvenirs, and even small pieces of the bright red canvas were valuable items. Some are still on display in museums in Britain, Australia, and Canada. But despite the death of a hero, the legend of the Red Baron was and is still very much alive, and to this day immortalized in songs like that by Sabaton.
That's crazy.
That is a thing.
And it's quite. What I really enjoyed about that was he didn't just crash land. He landed. He like he just landed.
The plane was fairly still
yeah,
intact.
and it's like that's crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
And I do highly respect the ones that do bury high-ranking people with full military honours. I do highly respect that.
I highly respect it as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed listening to the song. Gave it a lot more context to the sort of thing here as well.
What was the thing in the comments box that he said about?
That's it.
Or in the description box. What did he say? There was something he said.
Bear with me.
We will go back through and we will find out what he mentioned.
I'll just skip this bit. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I'm trying to think what it was. I don't remember what part of the video. Must be early on though, surely.
Yeah, it don't look like yes. Just check out the new
Oh.
No, it was earlier in this. The principles, the flying things, the rules, the 8 rules, that's what we were looking for. Here we go. Dick what?
Dick to Belkey. Right, stop moving it. You can find the 8 points of the Dick to Belkey in the pinned comment. Right, okay.
Oh, pinned comment, here we go. Here we go. So the 8 rules were: number 1, try to secure advantages before attacking if possible. Keep the sun behind you.
Number 2, always carry through an attack when you have started it.
3, fire only at close range and only when your opponent is properly in your sights.
4, always keep your eye on your opponent and never let yourself be deceived by ruseness.
5,
Ruses.
in any form of attack, it is essential to assail your enemy from behind. I've probably butchered that word, but I'm assuming to fight behind.
Essential.
No, to the ASSAIL. You see that word?
Yeah. I have no idea. A seal, maybe.
Yeah, a seal.
If your opponent dives on you, do not try to evade his onslaught, but fly to meet it.
Okay. Number 7. When over the enemy's lines, never forget your own line of retreat.
So, we'll get back to that in a sec.
Yeah.
For the staffer, attack on principle in groups of 4 or 6. When the fight breaks up into a series of single combats, take care that several do not go for the same opponent. That's very good.
Yeah.
And number 7, his head injury, that must have severely done him. to him to chase down one single person in deep in enemy territory. So I reckon that head injury was part of the reason he went down.
that was part of it, yeah. Definitely. I think there'd be quite a few other things as well. Yeah, definitely. If you guys want us to react to part 2, we'll probably be doing it next week, but just let us know in the comments box down below. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will catch you in the next video.
See you in a bit.